What's good, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to the Writer's Room. This is where we do reviews, reactions, and recaps. And today we are recapping episode 9 called Snow on P-Valley Season 2. Oh, I said that so backwards. Tonight we are recapping P-Valley Season 2, Episode 9 called Snow. And just from the title alone, I assumed that this was the episode that Megan Thee Stallion was going to be in. Of course, we had been hearing rumors that she was actually going to show her face. And around Episode 3 is when we actually heard her voice. So it was really nice to see her. Nonetheless, let's move on to the first scene of this episode. We have Andre. It seems that Andre has dug into his stripper bag, his Pynk bag, and got all of the ladies from the Pynk. And of course, this is with the help of Autumn, that she did recruit the ladies from the Pynk to, I guess, strip to the poles. This was really funny. And every time I see him, I'm reminded that he actually did portray Obama. So to actually hear Great Value Obama, it literally makes me laugh. So moving on to the next scene, we see that it is election day, and after all that has gone down, it seems as though Andre's numbers have gone up due to this whole stripper campaign, and he's just talking to the newscaster. And remember last week that Corbin gave Pastor Patrice Woodbine like $10,000 to drop out of the race. But who do we see coming up, pulling up in this nice Hummer / Jeep? She pulls up with a crew. It is a stripping pole on the back, and we have Pastor Woodbine actually stripping. I don't know what in life this is or where in the world we are that our mayor-elect would be doing this, but somehow she's actually really good at it. And you hear people murmuring like, oh, this is where Mercedes gets it from, clearly because Pastor Patrice was getting to it. But we see that Pastor Patrice did not drop out, and it was going to take more than $10,000 to get her out of this race. The next thing we go to is Granny Ernestine. She's inside the hospital bed, and she is seeing her daughter once again, and her daughter is handing her some water. And I did hear that you're not supposed to accept things from the dead. If you see the dead in your dreams or something, you're not supposed to accept things. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. But Granny Ernestine is going through it, trying to stay here with us. And I hope that she does. But moving along, we see that Uncle Clifford and MURDA are getting it in, you guys, for breakfast. Because Uncle Clifford is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. My granny is in the hospital. He's like, don't worry about it. You know, Granny Ernestine would want you to have sausage for breakfast. Cute. I just really love their dynamic and how open and honest they are with one another and accepting of what this is or what it could be. But we see Uncle Clifford is eating and asking him, how does it feel to be more than hood famous? Because I hear your song everywhere. You and Tina Snow are popping. And basically Lil MURDA tells him it's hard. It's hard because nobody knows. They think they know you, but nobody really knows who you are. And it's hard for me to be who I want to be. I can't be who I want to be because of how I've started and approached my career. And I get that. I feel that because Lil MURDA really wants to just be with Uncle Clifford instead of putting on this persona. And I think he just fell too deep in it, especially after last week with Merk and Pico. Uncle Clifford tells Lil MURDA, I gotta get ready for the reopening of the Pynk, so do what you please. Don't worry about me. I'ma be okay. The next scene we transition into is seeing Miss Mississippi and Autumn Night. They're just talking about what is gonna happen after this night and how Keyshawn will escape. Basically, Keyshawn is a little bit worried and seems to be hesitant and just asking Autumn Night, like, you really gonna sell the club? And Autumn is like, look, I've already made my decision. Like, you need to make sure that you have everything squared away, your passports, all that good stuff. Because either I'm going to be rich tomorrow, I'm going to be dumb. Because we all know last week, her final offer of that $5 million has already expired. So we'll be looking forward to see what happens with the results for tomorrow's campaign. But we briefly transition to Keyshawn going into the kitchen and seeing Diamond. And we see that they're eye to eye. And they haven't really had much conversation since the very first episode of this season. And you can tell that Diamond wants Keyshawn bad. But you also see that Keyshawn does still have some love there for Diamond. She still holds his necklace around her neck. And remember from last season, that necklace was a sign or a pendant for protection. So this was a really touching moment, and it just gave us that intense feeling that we're going to be relieved of later on in the episode. But we see that Big Bone pops up, and she has been watching this whole time, and she tells him, Diamond, are you done with the hot wings? Because that's why he was in there in the first place. And she basically called Keyshawn a thirsty trick. Just me paraphrasing. But we go into the rehearsal for the Pynk, making sure that the reopening is all good and making sure that Mercedes knows her steps, because Mercedes is still headlining the show. But we see that Mercedes, you know, she's giving us what we thought she could, and of course giving us a little bit of the Mercedes that we saw last season, but she is still struggling mentally. There's still a block, and we see that she almost literally hits Mississippi. If Keyshawn didn't move out the way, who knows what would have happened. But Roulette, of course, interjects and tells her that you should have been retired, you should have been stepped off that pole because you're old, you're dusty, and all that other stuff. And her and Mercedes gets into it, and Roulette has built up such a disdain for everyone at the club that she's like, look, we can tussle, we can do it, you don't want to play roulette with me. And Mercedes does like oblige her and is like, look, I know how to play Russian roulette. That's my favorite game. I would not test it, Mercedes. Please do not test roulette. But I love how in this part we can actually see that when Diamond passes Keyshawn, there's like a little spark between their eyes. Like they're still feeling each other clearly. But Diamond goes over there to stop this whole fight because Mercedes then starts going off on Autumn like, look, I'm here because of you. And I mean, she lays it all bare. She lets everyone know that I put 7 pounds of pressure on myself for you. I took care of things for you, and I wish I never went into the paradise room. But this does make Mercedes realize that I don't need to be here. She's right. She rips the poster off the wall and runs straight for the door. Now, in this next conversation, she does take it out on Uncle Clifford and basically makes Uncle Clifford, hey, tell me the truth. What is happening to me? Because I feel like I'm caving in. Like, I know this is not where I need to be. I was supposed to been had my last dance. And Uncle Clifford finally comes to the realization, and because I think Uncle Clifford was in denial, like she was trying to hold on to Mercedes because Mercedes felt like home. At least that's what I think, and that was the reason why she told her the story of making the castle, the Pynk, the castle that she wanted to live in. But I think she wanted to hold on to Mercedes because she felt like home. But she ends up letting Mercedes go, and Mercedes gets a little text from Farrah. We know Farrah and the coach kicked her out the other episode. So Farrah is like, I need you to come up to Memphis. I want to see you. So I think Mercedes thinks this is a business deal and is basically trying to get another bag. But Mercedes isn't the only girl checking on her phone. We have Big Bone looking at her phone, and she's looking at pictures of her and Diamond, and they are adorable together. But she sees Keyshawn, and it's clear that she is threatened by Keyshawn's presence. And she goes, when she walks by Keyshawn, I guess they bump, and she's like, we don't want you here, and I'm glad you leaving tomorrow. Keyshawn is like, how do you know that? And Big Bone tells her these walls not only are thin and they listen, but these walls can talk too. They run their mouth. And I'm still trying to figure out what that means. Do you guys think that maybe Big Bone overheard her and Autumn talking? Or do you think that someone spilled the beans about Keyshawn leaving? Go ahead and write in the comments down below what you think about that. Next, we transition back to Mercedes. She is at an art gallery, and we know that Miss Farrah did pictures. She was a photographer, and we see that she's named her art gallery the Mercedes Experience. And y'all, I'm wondering if Mercedes is getting some type of money or some compensation for Farrah using her likeness. But basically, Farrah still wants Mercedes and tells her that you are everything, like your strength is everything, and the fact that you used your weak arm, like I wish all of us could use our weakness as a strength. And so that was really nice. But we see that Mercedes is feeling grateful and a little bit overwhelmed by everything that's positive going on, because when she first comes in, everyone is saying how beautiful she is, how strong she is, how resilient she is. And I think this is what she needed to hear in order to really move on from the Pynk. But we see that Farrah's like, hey girl, like you still want to hook up? Like, am I good enough for that? And Mercedes is like, no, that was strictly business move, but it did have some pleasure. So I think we are going to see more of Farrah later on in the future. We move back to the Pynk and we see that they are preparing for the night. And we have one of Uncle Clifford's friends there basically selling clothes to the girls. But we see that the clothes are a little outdated. You know, it's giving 2002 Rainbow City trends. And so Autumn Night basically tells her, like, hey, go and pick up some new heat for the girls because this ain't gonna do. Like, we need all the money, all hands on deck for this night. And Autumn starts to feel a little wiggle in her throat. You guys know how that wiggle is when you're about to vomit. But she runs to the bathroom and vomits out her life. And we see she turns around and there is Whisper, who is like, you ready for those twins? So I think that Autumn Night is gonna have twins, you guys, or maybe that was some sort of subliminal. I don't know, but you guys let me know what you think. We get back to the Pynk and it is time for the grand reopening, okay? It is turned up, it is lit, everybody is outside, and we have the health inspector lady. She is back, or I guess the COVID inspector, just making sure that they uphold the policies that is set for them. And Uncle Clifford is like, look, like, let me get you could get in free, like, but we need more than 50% capacity. Like, we need everything that we can get. And basically throws Big L in as like a bonus. And she obliges and she's like, okay, you can go up to 75% capacity, but everybody better be wearing their mask. But we know that this night is going to be disastrous because we see that Maine's gang is there, and we know that Pico was a part of Maine's gang, and we know that MURDA is coming, and I'm sure he's pulling up with his crew. And Maine's gang is already on 10. They are ready to find out who did what, and I think that was their sole purpose in coming to the Pynk, because they already had ideas that MURDA murked Pico. But we get into the girls' dressing room and we see that Uncle Clifford comes in, basically is trying to hype the girls up. And who do we have coughing and sneezing? You guessed it. Miss Toya is sneezing and coughing again. And Uncle Clifford basically fires her on the spot. I don't know if it was for good, but it was definitely for that night. Why? Because she blames Toya for getting her grandmother sick. And basically, Granny Ernestine is dying because of you. Like, you kept saying this was allergies. And honestly, I still believe that Toya has allergies, because why is she consistently coughing? Uncle Clifford is not taking no L's anytime tonight. If she can help it, there will be no L's being held on her dime. So she is wrapping up everybody. Like, did I hear a cough? Like, what's going on? What you doing? You need to put some hand sanitizer on. Everybody mask up. Do what you got to do. I don't care if it hurts your acrylics. But she was on everybody's ass. But we see that on the phone, Lil MURDA is actually bringing Tina Snow to the club. But this was unbeknownst to Uncle Clifford. And so Uncle Clifford does feel away because Lil MURDA didn't let her know anything. And this is her club. Like, she doesn't want this getting out of hand. She doesn't want another murder night. So we see that things are already starting to heat up. We got Tina Snow pulling up with Lil MURDA. He has on this fly red coat, so you know the gang is in the building. And Tina Snow has on her ensemble and looking gorgeous. So everyone is just looking like a star, but we have Maine on the sidelines really hyping the gang up like, we know Lil MURDA did this. And I mean, the only logical guy that's over there is like, why would he do this and he didn't claim the body yet? But unlike Pico, Lil MURDA is not out here really implicating himself in these crimes. But anyway, we see that Uncle Clifford finally gets a hold of Lil MURDA, and this scene is basically Uncle Clifford just letting MURDA know, I don't want another repeat of murder night. Like, that was too much. I want this night to go smoothly. I don't want to get shut down. This might be the last chance that I have to keep the Pynk up and running in proper care. And we see that Uncle Clifford is a little jealous when we have Tina Snow coming out and she's trying to get MURDA to drive the boat. She's filling up on MURDA and doing all this other stuff. And it's just a cute banter between MURDA and Uncle Clifford being jealous of one another. And we see that Uncle Clifford has a guest, or I'm sorry, a client. Is that what they call it? A customer in the VIP room, aka the Paradise Room. As the night's festivities continue, we see Roulette drip down, got a new wig, makeup everything is flawless. lost out. And we see that Whisper is consoling Toya. And basically Toya, since she's gotten fired, she's letting everyone know, I don't have any money coming in. It's the pandemic. They're about to throw me out on my ass. And Whisper begs Roulette, please, we have to do something. And we see that Roulette is the pimp of the house. And earlier in the conversation with Tina Snow and Uncle Clifford, Tina Snow referred to a pimp, that there was some word of a pimp all the way down to Texas. And I think this is the pimp that Tina Snow is hearing about. Roulette hands Toya the money, and basically Toya is about to be pimped out, whether she knows it or not. But we go on and see that Corbin is actually the customer that Uncle Clifford had waiting in the VIP room. We see that Corbin is like, look, thank you so much for the advice that did not work to get Patrice out of the race, but I still have something that I want to give you. I'm willing to pay you $250,000, which is what Haley paid at the auction for the Pynk. I'm willing to pay you that in order to get my teas, in order to get my vice back, because I haven't been able to get whipped. He has an obsession with getting whipped, a fetish for getting whipped. And so Uncle Clifford has no other thing to do but to accept his money and just go ahead and do this for the last time. And Corbin yells out that, Uncle Clifford, nobody does it like you. So we do see that Corbin comes back to the clan, because we have Andre, we have Autumn, and of course some of Andre's friends. They're getting to it and drinking and having a good time before the results come in. But we see that Corbin is bleeding out on the side of his shirt, so he should really fix that. But nobody seems to notice this, just like nobody seems to notice this but Andre, that Autumn did not drink her drink. She actually threw her shot out behind her shoulder, and Andre, like I said, he peeps the game, and she's like, oh, I just need to stay sober. I can't wait till you win, and is basically finessing herself through this conversation so that he's not led on to believe that she may be pregnant or something could be happening with her. The next few scenes we get of Duffy and Roulette is still looking beautiful. I mean, we see that her outfit did not come from City Trends or Rainbow. And Duffy is really feeling her. He has some sort of like fetish with Roulette. He really likes her, and they basically, he gets it on with Roulette in the back, and she's feeling it. And this is the first sign that we actually see Roulette become vulnerable. Like, she looks like she let her guard down for Duffy. So this was really nice to see, and I guess we'll see where this friendship slash F buddy slash relationship goes. Moving along, we have Great Value Obama. He is on stage and he is lit. I think he is drunk at this point, but he is excited and twerking and doing everything because he really believes at this point that he is going to become mayor. And even if he doesn't believe, as he was having that conversation with Autumn in the hallway, he just is happy to get this done, over and done with. And Autumn goes on to tell him, hey, let's get out of here. Like, we could finish out the night at your house, and I just have something to tell you. So she plans on telling Andre that she is pregnant. Later on, we see that Megan Thee Stallion, aka Tina Snow, finally hops on stage. We have Mississippi doing her thing, Whisper in the back, Roulette in the back, and they are putting on a show. And we see that things are really starting to heat up between the two gangs. You see that they're looking at each other, but we also see Mercedes out in the audience with Maine, and Maine is like, Mississippi is dancing like her life depends on it. And Mercedes at that point clicks in her head that she was once Keyshawn, and they have this sisterly moment with looking in each other's eyes and basically passing the torch on to Keyshawn. Even though Keyshawn is leaving, like, Mercedes is like, I'm done with this place. In that moment, you can see that she has fully relieved of the pink. MURDA comes out. He shuts the place down. He's winking at Uncle Clifford. Uncle Clifford is really giving us that sideline booty. And I mean, just really cheering her man on. So that was lovely to see. And just all the emotions riled up, I think, kind of stirred up the gangs even more, because we have MURDA people getting into it with Maine's people, and they get into a fight and a scuffle. And as you can see, MURDA night is being repeated all over again. Tina Snow is looking like, I did not sign up for this. I'm a bounce. And we have Miss Mississippi, aka Keyshawn, literally crouched up like a puppy on stage. I don't know how we expect her to run away from Derek if she's face to face with him, but I guess we'll just save that for next week. However, we do have her white knight in shining armor. Diamond comes in and swoop her up to rescue her and puts her off to the side. She doesn't know what to do, but I think she's finally succumbing to her desires to actually want to be with Diamond, because this has been brewing since last season, and she kisses Diamond. But we have Big Bone peeping through the mirror. I guess the reflection in the mirror shows Big Bone that Diamond and Mississippi are kissing. Your worst nightmare. And Big Bone goes from like, oh, sassy to like, I want to kill you, bitch. Like, I mean, immediate. She immediately gets upset, and you can see the hurt, the pain, the frustration, and the anger wipe over her face. You see Uncle Clifford gathering Lil MURDA in the room and just trying to calm him down. Diamond comes in and lets Uncle Clifford know, like, hey, I'm about to search and sweep the parking lot. Like, we're going to get this place cleaned up. This will not be a repeat of Murder Night. And of course, MURDA is like going crazy right now because he's really struggling to meet internally with trying to be this person, this persona that he's led on to the people, like his audience and his fans, but also struggling to be the person that he actually wants to be, the person that Uncle Clifford wants to be with. And I think him suppressing his want for Uncle Clifford and it being such a nuanced situation really causes stress to him and causes him to overcompensate in other ways with his masculinity. But other than that, he just storms off, and Uncle Clifford ends up kicking a box full of pills. Mind you, these were the pills, and I told y'all that this was going to come back up. This showed those pills that Duffy and Big L were moving through the club, and when Uncle Clifford confronts Big L about these pills, Big L tries to just dismiss it and tell Uncle Clifford, hey, I've been moving and we getting a lot of money. Like, this is what's stabilizing the Pynk. And Uncle Clifford's like, I don't want nothing to do with this. I don't care if you moving it. I don't care if you just holding it here. Every plug is saying these things, but I want you out. And she ends up firing Big L. And this is a huge, huge deal for P Valley and for the Pynk, because we've always known P Valley and Big L, like Uncle Clifford and Big L, were pretty much joined at the hips when it comes to talking about the Pynk. Moving along, we get to Lil MURDA. He is inside of the Paradise Room listening to some music. And this is really paying homage to the first 2 episodes of P Valley season 1, where Mercedes met Lil MURDA, and he was literally, as she said, just some poser, like you out here trapping, but you weren't really trapping, and here you are, you have really become who you said that you would be. And he basically asked Mercedes to listen to her music because she's a legend, she knows her stuff. And this was really enlightening for Mercedes. I feel like this whole day was enlightening for Mercedes because her strength on the pole, her strength with her family, like, she is beautiful and strong, and I think this was really a testament to that. But of course, the more things change, the more things really stay the same, because Lil MURDA is still masquerading as this trapper rapper when we all know who and what he wants to be. Meanwhile, we have Diamond outside trying to bring up the boys and make sure that all of the gangs are squared away, or if they are going to do their things, that it's off the premises of the Pynk, okay? But we see that Pico's baby mama is there, and she tells everyone that she knows Lil MURDA did that. Did you hear how slick he was talking? I know he was the one behind Pico's death. And so this is not going to end well for MURDA. It seems like everyone that was in that hearse or that was playing that game is starting to fall apart. We know that Rome was taken out, and it seems that MURDA might be taken out, or something may be happening to him. I don't know. But not only that, we have Big Bone next to him, and she's on her phone looking at pictures of her and Diamond, and she has a picture of her with the ring, Montavious ring, inside of her hand, and she's getting ready to send it off somewhere. I'm just really nervous for my girl Keyshawn, because Big Bone seems to be really like conniving and jealous, and she may actually tell Derek what's going on and what Keyshawn may be up to, and it may be life or death for Keyshawn in this next episode. Although we don't see Big Bone hit the send, we can pretty much assume that Big Bone just sent that picture of that ring over to Montavious' crew, so we know what's about to go down in this finale. But speaking of Keyshawn, we see that Keyshawn is getting ready to leave out already, and she looks over and sees a picture of herself with Mercedes, and she goes over to her section and just writes on her mirror in lipstick that she'll always be her sister for life. And this makes it that much more jarring for me and dreading for me on this next episode, because I don't feel like things are gonna go the way that Mississippi is planning for. So I really do hope that she has changed, and as she told Diamond earlier, she can be the Rapunzel of her own story and really have that fairy tale ending. I really want that for her. But we see that Uncle Clifford comes in and sees her in the midst of her leaving and says, like, Heifer, you weren't gonna say nothing, like you were just gonna walk out this club. And we see that Uncle Clifford closes that chapter with Keyshawn and tells her, I don't want to see your face around here anymore. Honestly, it just didn't sound good for me, like I said, because I believe that Keyshawn maybe, she may be going up yonder in this next episode. I feel like before Wody killed Rome, Keyshawn was actually the last person that got winked at in that murder mystery game that MURDA Antique was playing. And so I'm really just trying to brace myself for this next episode that we may not actually be seeing Keyshawn again in the next coming seasons of P-Valley. But Uncle Clifford and Keyshawn hug it out, and Uncle Clifford sits down and just really ponder on this castle that she's built up for herself called the Pynk. And we'll see where it goes. But man, I guess we'll just see whoever wins this election tomorrow, that it'll be good for the Pynk. And I don't know, maybe Haley will lease out the Pynk the way that Andre had suggested, and that'll be enough time for P-Valley to continue and for Clifford to keep the Pynk. But I really hope that Granny Ernestine pulls through on this one. What do you guys think of this episode? It was a lot going on, but then not really. Like, as I rewatched it for the second and the third time just to make sure I got all my notes, I was like, okay, it's not really a lot going on, but it was still so well written, and all of these characters are developing before my eyes that I'm excited but yet nervous to see next episode, because I know that this final episode is going to put a nail in the coffin for one of our favorite characters. And I hope it's not MURDA, and I hope it's not Keyshawn, but it's one of them. So what do you guys think about this episode, and what do you think is going to happen for next week's finale? And I know some things are going to pop off, and like I said, one of our favorites are not going to make it. So go ahead and put in the comments down below what was your favorite part about this episode and what you think is going to happen next week. I will more than likely do like a pre-game show just for our final predictions. This is going to be my first time doing this, so I'm pretty excited. So don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time on The Writer's Room.